Hi, and welcome to She Matters. Today, Friday, the 26th of November. My name is Sylvia, and I'm here with my co-host, Birgit.
Hi, Sylvia.
Birgit, it's a pleasure to have you back after such a long time.
Thanks, Sylvia. It has been a long time, yeah.
So thank you for joining us
It's
today.
lovely, yeah.
But today, we're talking about business. And we've got a wonderful guest here. Her name is Temi Koleowo, and she has a company, Business First Steps.
That's correct.
And so you must get on your emails right now. If you have anything that you want to ask her, she is really an authority in that subject. And we'll be discussing her life, her business, and she'll be giving you some advice of what you need to know in case you are called in that area. Okay.
Yeah, Temi, it's really interesting that you could be with us and to delve into this whole topic
Yes.
of women in business.
Yeah.
It's actually not something that I'm overly familiar with myself, so I'm really interested to learn about your own journey. And maybe you could tell us about that, how it is that you came to found your own businesses.
Okay. I mean, it's really great to be here. It's really an honor for you to invite me. My journey is quite a long journey. Like I was telling you before, I started wanting to be a doctor when I was a child. And obviously, sometimes you start with a vision of something and you change it along the way.
Yeah.
And I studied food science initially, and then I went into accounting and finance. That was great fun. I've been in that field for about 15 years. But doing that was great, but there was something missing. I couldn't lay my hands on it initially, but I kept on going along. You know, it's what it's like. You have a regular pay, the job is okay, you're doing it fine, so that's okay. But there was something missing. I kept going. First year, second year, 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, and then I decided after I had my second child that, you know, enough is enough. I need to find myself, discover what I've got on the inside of me, because I believe God has given us gifts and talents that we can put to better use.
Yeah.
So along the way, after I had my second child, while I was on maternity leave, I started putting my skills together, find out what I can or can't do, look at my background of how I've helped people in the past. And I discovered that I've written quite a lot of business plans for people, helped people start off their businesses, and it didn't really register back then. Then I thought, okay, maybe this is something I can dabble into. So I started putting a plan for myself together, and it was great because I was at home during maternity leave, so there was no pressure. So along the way, I thought about it, but then I thought, maybe I should just go back to work. You know what it's like. You know, I've been on maternity leave, the pay is low, and then you think, okay, let me go back for a few years. But then I think, time's running out. I have to get myself together. Yeah. So luckily for me, when I wanted to go back to work, they offered me redundancy. So it was like God was saying, I'm not going to let you do that again. Right. Now you have to move on. So that made me think deeply about what I needed to do, and that's how I came about Business First Steps, which mainly is a business that helps people put their ideas together and bring it to life. So yeah, that's the journey.
I'm interested in what you were saying, that you moved into the field of accountancy and that you were doing this for a number of years, but actually while you were doing it, you just had that unrest that actually you weren't completely satisfied, that there was something more. Do you think that that's something that a lot of people can relate to, that a lot of people experience that?
I think so, actually, because speaking to even not just clients, friends and families, other people as well, I mean, they tell me, oh yeah, I have this hobby, but they don't develop it any further. They just do their regular job, and sometimes the disparity between their job and their hobby is so wide, so they can't put the two together. But then I tell people, if this is what you enjoy doing, probably that's what you should be doing. So for me, I know it can be a bit tough for people. You've been doing something for so long, why change it? By the end of the day, it's the satisfaction for me that really matters, because when you love doing something, even if they ask you to do it for free, you do it. You won't think twice about it. So for me, that's the key to what you do.
But some people would be sort of like unsettled in the thought of moving from an employment where they're getting a salary every month and then going into a business and thinking, how am I going to pay my bills? You know, I'm much more comfortable in this zone. And so how would you advise somebody like that? Because, I mean, you did mention when you were leaving that you were blessed with redundancy, that was able to propel you into your business. But for somebody who's not going to get redundancy, what would they do?
I mean, what I advise people as well, I mean, for me, I've been really blessed with a wonderful husband who supports me all the way. I mean, so even when the income went down, he was able to do what he could do just to support the family. And for me, I had to cut back on a lot of things. Obviously, it's like going to the salon every 2 weeks. You couldn't do that anymore. You had to cut back on that. So what I tell people initially is you don't have to start on a full-time basis. You can start on a part-time basis. There's what they call the 5 to 9ers. In other words, after your full-time job, you come to do your hobby, and then you can build it bit by bit. You know, find a few clients, start with those ones, see how it goes. If it's an idea that you think you can pull off, maybe you should dedicate a few more hours, maybe go part-time. So you don't have to start full on from the beginning, because it is daunting from earning a certain salary every month, and then you have to, you know, just wait on God and say, God, what's going to happen? And if you have kids like I do as well, their needs are never ending. So that's what I advise people to do. You don't have to put both feet in the water, but at least dip in a little bit. Don't just sit there and say, I'm not going to do it. Start bit by bit.
What about the issue of capital or equity? What happens if somebody has a concept or a business idea, but actually they do need some funds to get the ball rolling, and they don't have that? They have no access to that, and maybe even going to a bank and approaching them about a loan may not be viable because of the, you know, there's nothing to secure the loan. I mean, how would you respond to someone in that position?
Well, I realise there are quite a lot of grants out there. It depends on what business idea you've got, because I'm working with one of my clients at the moment who wants to run a training course for the local community, and we're looking at grants rather than her trying to fund it to venture capitalists or a bank. So there are lots of opportunities about exploring these things, because there's so much out there, but if you don't try and find it, you would know. So there's the option of grants, and some people suggest maybe go to family and friends and ask them to help out as well. I mean, initially you can have an arrangement with them where you get a loan which is interest-free, maybe from a family member or somebody, you know, and then you can pay it back, well, with integrity, obviously, so that you can pay it back over the years. So there are other options you can take. And what I said before, you don't have to start big, you know, because a lot of people have big ideas, but you can start small, but still retain your big idea and let it grow until that big idea becomes what you want it to be.
But then there's somebody who would say, well, you know, I'd like to do something. I'd like to start a business, but I don't know what to do. I mean, I don't think I have any talents or any hobbies. You know, I just think maybe I wasn't gifted with anything. You know, how would you motivate a person from that point of view?
I mean, I have all these people. It's amazing, because somebody got in touch with me about 2 weeks ago about that she knows she likes business, but she doesn't have any idea. So what I did with this person, for instance, was I sent her a form just to identify her personality.
Yes.
And in doing that, ask her to identify her strengths, her weaknesses, what she likes to do or not. So that's a good place to start. Just understand yourself. What do you like to do? Do you like beauty products? Do you like sports things? Do you like cars? Do you like information technology? It can be anything. So once you can identify that, it doesn't have to be something you do as a job. It can be something you do as a hobby. You know, for instance, you can like building things. You can make something out of that. It can be anything. So that's why I tend to tell people that start with your personality, understand yourself, and then you can take it from there.
That's a very good point. And a lot of us don't even know what personalities we are. And I know that it's important to know your personality, and even when you're working with people, to know their different personalities, because different personalities are good in different areas. You know, there's the serious ones that are good with accountancy, and they have a particular personality. They want every I to be dotted, and they want every T crossed. And then you have the fun, happy-go-lucky person that's great with answering your phone calls and promoting your products. You know, but we don't seem to realize that. So you probably get all the wrong personalities around you, and then you can't really blossom in where you've been called.
It's quite interesting listening to you though, Temi, because it seems that with the work that you're doing, there's sort of like a larger purpose in it. If we look at it from a faith point of view, and we have this understanding that God has given us particular gifts, particular passions, particular skills, and it's almost like in this context, you're actually helping people to uncover those and to really develop them and to actually come to a place of satisfaction